What's up everyone, it's Caddy with Money Investing. We got a big earnings day today, so I hope you guys are excited. We're going to probably do this live stream for maybe an hour. We're going to break down some stocks, but for the most part we're going to be talking about the big tech, the big companies that are reporting. Odin, welcome on board, so thank you so much for joining in. But the markets are looking okay. They're not as bad. So SPY is slightly down about 25 basis points. We were down more, but we have seen a little bit of recovery pre-market here. So we have jumped 41 basis points. The Dow Jones is also down about 33 basis points, and the Nasdaq ETF QQQ is slightly down about 8 basis points. Ismar, why can't you? Oh, you have to go to the university? That's unfortunate, but that's all right. I mean, you can still look at the markets on your phone or something, right? You can still kind of tune in every now and then. But it's going to be an exciting day. It's mostly going to be after hours for the most part. So again, this is our earnings calendar that we're going to basically look at. I'm just going to put the markets over here. So we're going to be looking into the S&P here, the Nasdaq, and this is the earnings calendar. So again, we got companies like Apple, Microsoft, Google, Visa is also reporting. Am I lagging already? God damn it, this is like an ongoing problem. Alright, yeah, so just let me know in the live chat if you guys can see me, if you guys can hear me, if there's no lags. I don't know what's going on. It's probably like the weather. It's been raining like crazy here. So I feel like the connections has gotten worse in the last couple days. But hopefully we don't have any problems here. If you do, then I do apologize in advance if you have any problems with the connection. But yeah, we got AMD. I'm gonna be watching that very closely. Advanced Micro Devices. Then we got Visa reporting, UPS, Starbucks, 3M, Waste Management, Enphase Energy, Teladoc, Teradyne, General Electric, and QuantumScape reporting. But the Chinese stocks, I mean, that's been kind of like the talk of the town. This is the KWEB shares, CSI China Internet ETF. Look how much it's down in the last month. Last month it was down over 28%. We're down over 9.6% as of yesterday, and then pre-market today we're down another 5.82%. When you take a look at the Hang Seng Index, this thing is continuing. It was down over 4% just today, right? The last 3 days have been absolutely brutal for this index. This is the Chinese index, right? Hang Seng Index down about 15% since last week of June. In the last 3 days, we're actually down over 11%. Absolutely just a complete brutal sell-off that we're seeing here for the Chinese stocks. Alibaba, last time I checked, was at 184, so at 183 now, pre-market. This is kind of like some of the technical analysis if you guys want some next support levels to watch. I do have two support levels at 180 all the way as low as $170. I mean, this is just like this could be like the deal of the century right here. I mean, this is so undervalued. It's ridiculous at these levels. So it definitely represents like a huge upside for Alibaba. Even if we do retrace back up to all-time highs, I mean, we're looking at 72% gain, and not to mention in this entire time since October, this is October 2020, all stocks have rallied. S&P is up over 33%. All other tech stocks are up like 30, 40, whatever, 50. And we're seeing Alibaba down like whatever 40 or 50%, 43% from its all-time high. So this can either be like a deal of a lifetime, perhaps one of the only ones that is very undervalued in the markets right now, or this can continue to sell off based on the regulations and based on everything that comes out of China that we hear about. So Chad, good morning. Thank you for joining in. So Jerome Powell actually speaks tomorrow. So we got the FOMC meeting starting today, but the press conference is actually tomorrow. So we're gonna break that down very quickly. Go over Econ Day. And by the way, Mas, thank you so much for that. I really appreciate it. Thanks for the donation. I'll check Lucid Motors in just a second and talk about the daily chart. So we got about 10 minutes for the markets to open. I'm going to quickly go over the calendar very quickly. So this is right here, Tuesday. So you'll notice FOMC meeting begins. So it actually begins today. There's not really much that he's talking about. So we're going to discuss in a day or two whatever they want to talk about. And then nothing else that's coming out today. So I think yesterday we had a little bit of nothing yesterday either, except for earnings for Tesla. So Tesla earnings were on Monday. Tuesday we've got a lot of earnings coming up, so we've already broken that down, but the FOMC meeting starts. And then tomorrow you'll notice, I think it's at 2 p.m. So FOMC announcement and Fed chair press conference is at 2:30 p.m. Eastern. So this is actually going to be 1.5 hours before market close. So that's actually going to be at midnight for me, so at 12 a.m. Maybe I might actually be able to do the live stream here tomorrow. So 2 p.m. announcement and 2:30 p.m. live stream. 11:30 p.m. till like 1 in the morning. I might actually be able to do the live stream here when he's actually speaking. So we'll see if we actually can do that. But again, Wednesday we got a lot of earnings coming up as well. If you take a look at the calendar, so Wednesday we've got Facebook, we've got PayPal, Shopify, McDonald's, Pfizer, Qualcomm, Boeing, Spotify, all these different companies. And then on Thursday we got Amazon, MasterCard, VW, Twilio, along with the GDP numbers coming out. And then we've also got, that's it, GDP numbers and the jobless claims coming out. So mix of earnings, mix of some macroeconomic stuff coming out in the mix, with the FOMC meeting, of course, is going to be the highlight of the week, along with earnings and where those interest rate decision actually goes moving forward. All right, so let's take a quick look on Lucid Motors or Lucid Group. So right now it kind of shows that we're down pre-market at 2667. It's kind of weird. So daily chart, I don't know what. So daily chart, this shows at 2425 as of yesterday's close, or this was July 23rd. So this is the right ticker, right? Because I don't know what's going on with the trading view. All right, so right now, I mean, it looks like we were up over 10% at close at 2683, and pre-market we're slightly down. So I've got a resistance at close to $29 right here. So this right here is going to be the resistance level to watch for Lucid Motors. That's kind of like been the pattern for the longest time. We've been kind of bouncing off of that support here a couple of times. This right here, resistance. So you'll notice that we got rejected here once. We've found support here once, twice, 3 times. So we are kind of testing that resistance. So yesterday's high was actually $29. So yesterday we actually tested, well, this is as of July 26th. So $29 in my opinion is going to be the resistance to watch right now, and support is going to be at $20. So it's got like a pretty wide range, only because of the volatility that we have seen with Lucid Motors. But that right there is going to be kind of like the pattern that we're seeing for this company. In terms of the moving averages, just hovering above the 50 EMA at $24, and we've got the 200 SMA. So 200 SMA is just now starting to develop, so we don't have that yet. And 21 EM is also pretty much sitting right there at close to $24. So again, that right there would be the range I'd watch for Lucid moving forward. All right, let's go over to the broader markets here. The Nasdaq is down about 7 basis points, the SPY down about 24, and the Dow is down 34 basis points, and the VIX up over 6.25%. So we got the VIX a little bit higher than usual. NIO is down about 1.76%. Let's take a quick look on Tesla, up over 83 basis points, but it has been selling off, right? This right here is actually after hours yesterday. So again, double top resistance, I should say, at 675. What is the one resistance level that we have talked about on the channel for Tesla that it's struggling to break out over? What resistance did we talk about in our video from yesterday? It was at 675. Right, that right there was a level, $675. After hours, we got tagged at 678 a couple times. So this right here is 677, 678 right here. We pulled back, pushed up right here, got rejected at 674, pulled back, retest pre-market. So this is after hours. So this right here, that's after hours. This is pre-market. So if both times we're hitting that 675 level, there may be some resistance over there. So I'd watch that resistance very closely. for Tesla on the day if you can see a breakout over that level. But what do you guys think? Are we going to see a pullback or some type of a correction for the markets, or are we continuing on this bull rally for the broader markets? Every time we gap down, we've seen the buyers kind of step in and push us past over to new all-time high. So yesterday was a record close for the markets. The Dow, the Nasdaq, and the S&P, they all had a record close. So if you take a look at the Dow, the Nasdaq here, so again, 14,840 record close. One of the things I mentioned in our yesterday's market update is a negative divergence, right? So we're hitting higher highs on lower RSI reading, so weaker RSI, weaker breadth from the markets. So the Dow Jones, another record level here, so out of well over 35,144. So again, record here, and the S&P also at a record high at 4422. That was a pretty strong day across the board for a lot of different indices, right? Bitcoin pushing past over 38,000 once again. So the longer wick is the Amazon speculation, which basically they said that they are denying the last time I checked the news, and right now we're starting to see that push higher once again, so up over 3.26%. Oh, Steve, welcome. Thank you so much for joining in. So thoughts on NIO. So NIO on the day, if it can hold up above $43 right now, we're just under 43 bucks. We've got a lot of moving averages here for NIO stocks. So we got the 50 EMA and the 200 SMA as well. That we're just struggling to break out over. Just the wicks, you'll notice that we're just getting rejected at that level. So we're tagging the past couple of days. We've kind of tagged that level, but these have been like failed breakouts for NIO stock. So that's one of the things that is that we need to address, is that there's going to be a lot of gap ups and gap downs. There's going to be a lot of volatility. Like if you take a look at Baba, like Alibaba stock, like look at how many times it's gapped up and gapped down. It's insane how many times this thing just gaps up, gaps down. It shows like it's making progress, and then bam, they come out with another fine, or like some type of, their business segment that they're going to be banning, or something that they're going to be doing over there in China that affects the business, and then it gaps down once again. Every time it tries to break out over these moving averages, every time we try to see some progress being made for the pattern and the price, it just gaps down once again. I mean, that's been the pattern for the longest time. Look how many gaps we've left for Alibaba stock, like once here, twice, 3 times, So we got gaps over here. So here, we got gap here's, we got gaps here. So many gaps that have been left for Alibaba stock. But for NIO, I would watch those moving averages very closely. The 50 EMA and the 200 SMA, and the support right now is at 40 bucks. If you see some more selling pressure intraday for NIO stock, and $43, like right around this level, is going to be is support. Let's see if we can actually close above that level. Yesterday we were trading as low as 41.93, but the buyers really stepped in to push us past over $43 a share. There is a little bit of a gap here that we left. So 9 out of 10 gaps usually do get filled. So we'll see if we actually move back higher to fill this gap on the day. All right, so a minute 10 seconds left for the markets to open. Big tech is going to have a huge impact on the markets. Of course, we got Google, Microsoft, and Apple, which make up roughly about $4 trillion worth of market cap, or a little bit more than that. So Microsoft, Apple alone are over $4 trillion, and then you pile on Google on top of that. That's going to be, I think, a little bit over $5 trillion in market cap, which makes up a lot of the S&P and the Nasdaq, right? So 3 companies, super important. I hope you guys are excited. But yeah, let me know in the live chat what you guys think. Are we going to see a strong rally for the markets, or are we going to see some type of a pullback after the earnings, or before the earnings, or on the day? So what do you guys think? What do you guys think on the day? So one fast Duster, so kind of worried about NIO. Do you think it'll continue sliding due to China concerns? It could. I mean, yesterday we saw almost an identical pattern, right, for NIO and a lot of other Chinese companies. So in the short term, that is going to be something that is going to drive some pressure on NIO. But over the longer term, they're all going to trade off of their own fundamentals. So long term, NIO is going to be based on its own fundamentals and the growth story that we have. But in the short term, it's kind of getting caught up in that crosshairs based on the risks related to China. So I think in the short term, that is potentially worrisome, but over the long term, I think fundamentals will take over for the company. Alright, so here we go. So we got the markets here. I'm going to actually break this chart up into 4. So we got Tesla top left. We got NEO over here. So we're going to watch NEO on the 5-minute chart. We got Palantir. I'm going to put that right there. And let's just put AMC. Let's see how that stock's doing. So, alright, roughly down about 1 point, or a little bit over 2%, back under $40. Let's see if NEO can actually break out over 43. 43 is the level that we're watching for NEO on the day. And for Tesla, we already know at 675. That's going to be the level to watch. And then for Palantir, we got roughly at $21.98. So $21 is still going to be a support for Palantir intraday. So Caterpillar earnings coming up soon as well. What are my expectations? I'll probably do a video on that. They're reporting on Friday. So yeah, I think they're reporting on, they're reporting on based on some of the other companies as well. So they're actually reporting with ExxonMobil, Chevron, Procter & Gamble. So I'll probably do a video on that very soon to kind of go over what my expectations are from the revenue and EPS standpoint. But Caterpillar, again, that equipment manufacturer, industrial company, I think has a lot of potential. But we really have to understand how much of that is already getting priced in from the company. Because it has seen a significant rally, and that's been one of the reasons why the Dow has also been moving higher. But I'll kind of put out a video going over that. So yeah, let's just put Apple here. So we're almost at 149.12, and we'll put AMD over here as well, bottom left. So AMD is up over 1.6%. There we go, a little bit push to the upside, breaking past over $93. So AMD starting to see a pullback here. So we'll see if those gains are continuing on the day, or if we see some type of a pullback. NEO, as usual, catching some bids here right at the open. This has been the pattern. This is exactly what we talked about in our yesterday's live stream for NEO. The first 15 minutes, those are the most important minutes for us to really establish direction. If we see some type of a sell-off, we break down below the middle VWAP, we break down below the moving averages, that usually does lead to some more selling pressure, unfortunately, on the day. That's exactly what we saw yesterday as well. So remember when we saw that spike initially, that burst all the way to highs of 43 levels, $44, before the seller stepped in, and then we sold off down to lows of 42, 43 bucks. So that's what we really want to see for NEO, is to actually establish direction to the upside and continue to make higher highs and higher lows. Apple sliding a little bit, down about 30 basis points, now under 149. But AMD looks like it's at a strong open, up over 2%, almost testing $94 per share. The all-time high sits at 99. If you take a look at my AMD's chart, the next resistance or target that we have is at $95. So this right here is going to be the level to watch for advanced micro devices at close to $95 per share. Tesla coming down, so 657 is where we're trading. 650 is going to be the support. 675 is a resistance for Tesla. Let's go over to the 1-minute chart here. So we are seeing some selling pressure for Tesla on the day, and this right here is going to be NEO, of course. Again, same exact pattern forming like yesterday. We'll see if we actually get new high of days, and if we continue to stay above $43, or if we come back down. So I've already gone over my expectations from Apple and from AMD as well. So these are two companies that I broke down the earnings report for. Google, we'll try to see what the analyst estimates are and break down the expectations. But for the most part, expecting a huge beat on both revenue and bottom line EPS from the company. One of the things that I really want to see is that if they actually provide us with a strong future guidance moving forward. The Tesla stock is down. Yeah, the stock is down. I mean, that's one of the things that I mentioned in my videos, is that even if we do get a huge beat, I wouldn't be surprised if Tesla does come down after earnings, because that's been kind of like the norm, right? Even for Apple, I wouldn't be surprised if we get up to like 149, let's say 150. After hours, we get a little bit of a spike, but then the pattern kind of rolls over and fades because we're already trading at near all-time highs. How much better can this get for Apple stock? That's the real question. All right, let's take a quick look at the broader markets. NASDAQ now down 30 basis points. We got the S&P down about 40, and the Dow is down over 46 basis points on the day. I'm actually going to switch this over to the actual indices instead of ETFs. So SPX, and this right here is going to be the IXIC. And again, the Dow is down about 172 points, which is pretty reasonable. It's not a huge amount, it's not a small amount, it's pretty sizable there. The SPY is down about 20, and the Nasdaq, of course, down about 40 basis points now. There we go. So Nasdaq down more, almost more than some of the other indices. All right, quick scan of the markets and see where everything else is trading. So we're gonna filter this by the ones that are the most red. Actually, let's start with the ones that are most green. So we got Trade Desk up over 2.2%. We got Upstart, that's been part of our swing trade from our weekend video, that's up over almost 1%. Vertex Pharmaceutical, another one of our fundamental plays, up almost 1.5%. AMD, of course, is up over almost 2%. We got Netflix, that's up over 23 basis points. Nvidia, that's good, up a little bit over 194. We got Spotify and GameStop also slightly green. But for the most part, let's take a look at what's red. We got Alibaba, so it's actually pushing higher from those losses. So it was down over 5%, trading as low as 183. Now we're at 186. Mara coming down, even though Bitcoin is actually up, starting to push higher once again. So that could be one of the reasons why we're seeing Mara starting to kind of recover some of those losses, because I think it was down a little bit over 5 to 6% pre-market, and now we're seeing that recovery back up. Micron up down about 3% here, so it's breaking down below $74 looks like. Coinbase coming down 1.2%. Coinbase had a really strong day yesterday, but we almost got rejected at the same resistance at 246. I mean, this is the level that we were talking about during our live stream, right? So 246, I even took a poll, asked everybody how many of you guys think that we're actually going to see a breakout. A lot of you guys thought that we're going to see a rejection, and you guys were right. So we did see a rejection here at the resistance of the 50 EMA before Coinbase kind of pulled back. So 246 is the resistance that we're going to be watching for Coinbase. And of course, it kind of correlates with Bitcoin prices. As we see that rally here, so we're almost up 4%, up 1,400, we could see Coin turn positive along with Mara as well on the day. So we'll see how that plays out rest of the day today. So Corsair down about 1.5%. Nothing that is severely in the red, especially not on this watch list, except for NEO that's down a little bit over 2%. And then Alibaba that's also down almost 3% on the day. But everything else seems kind of, down 1%, up 1%. So it's pretty normal, considering that the market's now, the Dow is down over 231 points, the S&P down about 0.5%, and the Nasdaq is down about 27 basis points as well. All right, let's take a quick look at some of the stocks here that you guys are recommending. If you guys can do me one favor, gently smash that like button. It really helps out the channel. We've got almost 500 people watching, and then only 10% of the people have actually liked the video or the stream. So I would really, really appreciate your guys' support. If you guys can simply just like the video, that would really help me out. And let's see if we can actually get up to at least 200 likes. That's going to be roughly 50% of the people watching. So I really appreciate it. All right, so what stocks are we watching? SKWS. And again, I need newer suggestions. We need some more newer ideas, because usually in our live streams we listen in on the same stocks over and over again. Like I've put out several videos on these. So it would really help us out as a community if we can bring new ideas to the table that we haven't really looked into, right? These are companies that we can start looking into from a fundamental and technical analysis standpoint, and kind of build a thesis whether it's a good investment or not, based on what we see. So Skyworks Solutions, I've actually not looked into this company before, so that's good because we want fresh companies that we can look at. So declining revenues year over year, that's one of the things that's not very good, but margins are okay, so 24% margins. The market cap is roughly sitting at just shy of $32 billion. Take a look at the statistics: 26 times price to earnings, 7 times sales. It's not as bad. Balance sheet, cash to debt here. So that's good. Cash to debt is also very, very solid. The gross margins are 49%, EBITDA margin at 39%, current ratio at well over 5. So fundamentally, and based on the balance sheet, this company looks really strong. The only thing I would like to look into this in more detail is why the revenues have gone down. Even before the pandemic, so 2018, we did just over 3.8 billion, and now we did just about 3.3. So we're actually coming down year over year, but the stock price looks good, right? From the pandemic lows of about $70, we're actually gone up over 181% to now trade at $193. So very quick technical analysis on this. There is going to be some type of a resistance at closer to this level at 195. We've got rejected at a level once, twice, and it kind of feels like we're forming potentially some type of a flag here. So you'll notice that we did rally, we're now starting to consolidate sideways, so there could be a potential breakout to the upside for this to also come in the future, right? So 195, I'm gonna set an alert right above that level, and of course the all-time high sits well over $204 a share. So Lockheed Martin, LMT, is actually looks like it's starting to break out, or yep, so it's starting to kind of bounce off of that support at the moving average. So we'll kind of revisit that in just a second. But for Skyworks, I'm gonna add this to my watch list. Seems like an interesting stock to look into further. And then for the time being, there's gonna be a resistance at 195, and there's gonna be a couple supports at the moving averages, right? So you'll notice that we perfectly bounced off of that 200 SMA here. That would have been like a perfect dip buying opportunity when we were down over 22%, validating that 200 SMA, and that's also a support that we validated previous resistance. So all resistance levels turning into a support level here and a support level here before kind of bouncing off of that level and then pushing higher up almost 22%. So very range bound pattern for the time being. Resistance at 195, support at 159. Moving averages are also there, so those are also going to be some support levels, but resistance is going to be right there. All right, next stock, TSM. TSM actually we've covered in the past. Quick update on the markets while we're looking into those stocks. So Tesla at 652, bouncing off of that $650 level. NIO continuing to pull back here. So that's one of the things that I was talking about, is that the first 15 minutes are the most important minutes to really identify direction. And once we break down below those moving averages, you'll notice that we went back up and then got rejected at the middle VWAP and the 21 EMA. So, and as opposed to that, you'll notice the complete difference from AMD, right? This is Advanced Micro Devices, the exact opposite pattern here, right? So we pushed up, we validated that support, and then we pushed up even higher. So there's a higher probability that AMD sees a strong uptrend versus NIO seeing a downtrend on the day. Now, of course, that could flip intraday, that could switch over, and we could see buying pressure come in for NIO, and we could see a breakout over $43 once again. But it's just the direction that I want you guys to understand. The direction is not very strong at the moment for NIO right now. And the same goes true for AMD. Its direction is stronger to the upside. Same with Tesla, right? You'll notice that we are just making lower highs and lower lows. We actually just breached the low of day for Tesla stock at just under 648. So it's a little bit on the lower high and lower low weakness side. All right, so TSMC, I actually got pretty scribbles over here. So we're now trading as low as 114. We're actually approaching a really strong support for TSM right here at close to $112. That's aligned with that 200 simple moving average. So this actually does make for a really low risk, high reward trade-off, because 200 SMA historically has proven to be a very, very important moving average. In this entire uptrend, you'll notice that we were validating the 50 EMA. We didn't quite retest the 200 SMA yet. So this is perhaps the first time we're seeing that retest at $113. And for the most part, you'll notice that the pattern has been very range bound as well, just trading sideways back and forth at 121 resistance and $113 support. So if for any reason we see a breakdown below this level, the next support I'd watch is at 107. That's been a double validation support here, previous resistance for the stock. And right now the RSI looks like it's starting to trend down even further, and the MACD's also been selling off below the signal line. So there's going to be a first potential swing trade idea if you are interested. I don't know who asked me for that, so Matthew. $113 is going to be a support level right there, all the way as low as $107. Two support levels to watch very closely. I do expect a bounce back higher from at least that 200 SMA back up to like $121. So again, it's been kind of range bound, validating that support moving forward as well. All right, let's take a look at. So we have covered quite a few stocks here that you guys have mentioned. So CleanSpark, CLSK, is it? Yep. So CleanSpark, I believe that's going to be a Bitcoin play if I'm not mistaken. They're another Bitcoin miner that have just been selling off, trending down, making lower highs and lower lows. So that right there is kind of like the overall trend for CleanSpark. So that's one of the things. I actually put out a tutorial video just today going over like 14 check marks that I like to personally look at when I'm basically looking at a company from both a fundamental and technical standpoint. So I'd highly encourage you guys to check that out if you haven't already. It's like a very beginner-friendly video that goes over, you know, things to watch out for when you're investing in any specific company. And under technical analysis, one of the things that I mentioned is a strong uptrend. What we really want is a company that has a history of showing signs of an uptrend, right? It's uptrend by meaning making higher highs and higher lows. This right here is the complete opposite of that, right? We're seeing lower highs and lower lows being formed. So it's a very weak pattern to begin with. It's a descending pattern, or like a downtrending channel right here. So unless we kind of establish a support, and again, I haven't really looked into the fundamentals of the company, I'll have to kind of dig in deeper to really get a good grasp on what the valuation looks like and what the fundamentals look like. But there is going to be some support right here at close to the $6.75. There will potentially be some support at this level at $13. Previous resistance on the weekly chart, so double top resistance here, validated support, so we may get a bounce back higher from this level. But I wouldn't be too confident on that just yet, only because we're, one, trading below the moving averages, two, the pattern itself has been very, very weak. We've just been making lower highs and lower lows. And three, there's a high probability that we see breakdown even further if Bitcoin continues to pull back. Right now we're seeing some strong recovery, but if we see a breakdown from Bitcoin, that's only going to add more fuel for us to break down even further. So I keep a close eye at $13 first, all the way as low as $6.75 for a clean spark moving forward. All right, so let's take a look at NEO. So down about 4% now, trading as low as $41.30. We got Tesla down about 1.45%, and we got Apple pretty much consolidating right above 148. We got AMD now starting to break down below the middle VWAP, the moving averages as well, the broader markets. The Nasdaq is now down almost 0.5%. And we got the S&P down about 44 basis points, and the Dow over 200 points in the red, down about 0.5%. So it's I feel like it's very normal considering we were hitting new all-time highs, and now the markets are starting to turn really red. Look at the yields. The 10-year yields are also down over 1.5% today, and trading as low as 1.236. So that's interesting, right? We're seeing the yields come down at the same time we're seeing the Nasdaq, the S&P, the Dow also pull back. When you take a look at the equal weighted S&P 500, so this is also a very, very interesting chart to look at. So we know that the S&P 500 is market cap weighted, right? So market cap weighted means that some of the biggest companies in the world, which are the big tech stocks like Microsoft, Apple, Facebook, Amazon, some of the big tech companies, they have a bigger influence on the S&P 500, which is why as those companies have rallied, Amazon hitting new all-time highs, Apple hitting new all-time highs, Facebook hitting new all-time highs, Google hitting new all-time highs, that's what's led to the S&P 500 to hit new all-time highs. But when you look at ticker symbol RSP, which is like the equal weighted, it actually gives equal weighting to all these stocks, all the sectors in the S&P 500. You'll notice that we actually have been going sideways since May. We actually have not been making higher highs for this index. So that really goes to show the influence that tech has on the broader markets and the S&P more specifically. Now what that really means is that if tech starts pulling back after the earnings here, so considering the valuations, if Apple starts to pull back, if Google, if Microsoft, if Facebook, those big companies start to pull back, and if other sectors don't kind of help out the S&P, then we could see some more downside potentially for this equal weighted index as well, and of course the broader markets, including the S&P and the Nasdaq. So that's gonna be interesting for us to look at moving forward. All right, so Richard, fine, I'll go over Rolls-royce. I've seen that message come up like 15 times. I'll go over Rolls-royce, and we'll take a look at this. So, wow, this thing has just been, is this the right ticker for Rolls-royce? Is this like the actual ticker, like it trades on the OTC market for $1.34? Or am I looking at the wrong company here? So, all right, let me see. Is it this one? What is the ticker for Rolls-royce? RR? RR is not available here. So, yep, we've got different exchanges. Under stock, I don't have anything that is RR. So, Yeah, so I don't know what that ticker is for Rolls-Royce. RCEY. Yeah, I don't see RYCEY. All right, let's try this one. So same ticker. I mean, it's just it's a strong downtrending pattern. It's just been selling off. It's been making lower highs, lower lows. We're probably trading at a 52-week low for the stock. So, and very low volume too, like 175,000. So this is something that I would personally stay away with, and not really buy into. Look at AMD coming down. Coming down 71 basis points up in the green now only, but trading now under $93. And we've got Apple still down about 39 basis points. NEO really coming down over 4.38. Quick take on some of the Chinese stocks. By the way, VIX is up over 6.65%. Let's take a quick look on some of the Chinese stocks here. So we got TAL kind of bouncing off of that sell-off from recently, like it's up over 15%. GOTU, same story, it's up over 11.8% after the huge gap downs and the selling pressure we've seen. Like the weekly charts on these companies look scary. Like the weekly charts are scary for these. I mean, we've actually completely wiped out the gains, all the gains for these stocks. TAL has completely wiped out the gains. I mean, just look at this chart. Look how beautiful this chart is, right? I mean, this is the type of companies that you want to invest in. Strong growth, it's just uptrend, it's just moving up, nothing's wrong here. And then all of a sudden, boom, all the way down here. Just from 2015, like 5 years. Absolutely incredible. So Didi is up about 0.5%, but JD.com down, NetEase is down, PDD, Alibaba, NEO, Li Auto, and XBank also down slightly. All right, let's take a quick look at Pinterest. Pinterest has been on the watch for a long time as well. So Pinterest is also kind of pushing sideways. So this right here is kind of like the range bound pattern. For Pinterest, a resistance at $88, support at close to $64. I'll actually move that down slightly more at close to $62. So validated here once, validated twice, and there may be some support level at close to $66 as well. So we kind of got validated here as well for Pinterest. So right now it's kind of like in this range bound pattern. So this right here, a couple support levels that we validated for Pinterest, and we're trading above the moving averages, so that's good. The RSI, the MACD also looks very bullish because the MACD is also almost crossing over the signal line. The RSI very neutral right now, so if you do see some more upside, I wouldn't be surprised to see a retest potentially to $88. But this is very range bound at the moment, right? So we've just been going back and forth. It's kind of like a pattern very similar to Netflix. You'll notice that we've just been trading inside this range for Pinterest as well. All right, so I'll cover British Petroleum, BP. It's been brought up several times. So BP actually broke down from this ascending high, from this higher low. So there was a resistance at close to $28 right here. So $28.75. They've got earnings coming up. But this is also because energy sector in general has sold off. So actually this could be a good example. So if you come over to our market update, and you'll notice that this has been the entire day's performance, the months and the week, right? So you'll notice which sector has basically sold off aggressively in the last like 1 month, right? These are all the 1 month relative performance charts. And you'll notice technology, of course, is up the most. That's why Apple, Amazon, earlier, which I mentioned, was hitting new all-time highs. But take a look at energy, right? Energy sector down the most, over 9% in the last 1 month on a relative basis. So as energy prices come down, so oil, for crude oil, Brent, they come down. Exxon, Chevron have also been selling off. So BP kind of falls in that same category, which if energy sector is coming down, BP is also coming down. So from its highs, we are down roughly 20%, or we were down 20%, and now we're down over 16%. So it's kind of bouncing off of that 200 SMA, so that's good. That's what we want to see. We want to see a bounce off of that 200 simple moving average. The RSI is super oversold, the MACD also oversold. So this should be, in my opinion, this could be a time where you can look into this company in more detail and kind of understand what the fundamentals look like and do your own due diligence. But just from a technical standpoint, this represents a low risk, high reward trade-off where there is a support at close to $23. And there could be a potential resistance all the way down up to that 50 EMA, even as high as this $28 level. So That right there is going to be a support at the 200 SMA, resistance at 25.60, all the way that's $20. So ever heard of dividing the price of sales to growth prediction to get a ratio on growth companies? I'm not sure what you mean by that, Miguel. Could you elaborate on that a little bit? Because I would love to learn more about what that is, if that's like a new methodology to like actually calculate the price. But so price of sales and dividing the price of sales to growth prediction. I don't know. I'm not sure about that valuation. But Apple consolidating sideways. A lot of consolidation here for Apple. Now NIO's starting to go sideways as well. So this is the 1 minute chart. And you'll notice that we're just trading sideways here. Tesla starting to make a little bit of a recovery back up. But AMD had a strong sort of this 10-minute period where we just saw a lot of selling here. 12 minutes where we just saw a lot of pullback. So thoughts on Intel. I think Intel is undervalued right now. There's plenty of opportunity for Intel. In my opinion, this is the complete technical breakdown. Let me bring up the fundamental breakdown here for AMD. So we actually broke down AMD's analysis. By the way, this is the estimate that I have for the market close after hours when AMD reports their earnings. So for those of you who are new to the channel, I'm bullish on AMD. I'm actually bullish on the semiconductor industry in general. I think Intel, AMD, NVIDIA, all three companies are going to do really well. But I just think that AMD right now, with the growing revenues, with the turnaround story, with the new CEO, has a lot of potential to gain more market share in this space and to outperform other stocks like within the same industry. So this is my projections for market close today for advanced micro devices, expecting revenues to grow 95% to at just over 3.7 billion. Gross margins to expand another 4% year over year, so that's 411 basis points to 48%. And EPS to be at 59 cents per share, jump of another 356%. But Intel, if you take a look at these very quick metrics, you'll notice that Intel is kind of undervalued relative to where AMD's and NVIDIA are trading. So Intel has a trailing 12-month PE of 11, very low. Price of sales at 2.7, another very low metric. Forward PE of 11.6, so very low compared to AMD and NVIDIA. So who asked me the question here? Let me take a look. So Mohammed. So in my opinion, Intel is undervalued right now from a fundamental standpoint. The only thing or the only concern I have, of course, is the revenue growth. It actually declined almost 1% year over year, and the concerns related to the market share, right? They've been losing market share in the cloud space and the data server space, and of course they've been delaying the chip production as well, right? Sapphire getting pushed out to 2022. So those are some things that you may want to look into if you were really considering Intel right now. But just from a fundamental standpoint, the valuations, it's kind of like the undervalued of the bunch. NVIDIA, of course, is at a ridiculous valuation right now, so I'm not touching that one. But AMD, I feel like, is at a fair valuation with a lot of growth potential in the future as well, moving forward. So Intel have got support levels at close to 53. Seems like we're breaching that level today, breaking down below 3%. But the next support level to watch is going to be 48.65, all the way down here. We got a huge gap for Intel right here. Usually, when these gaps have been happened for Intel more specifically, we fill those gaps up. So you'll notice that we left a gap here after the earnings, came back up to fill it over here. So that was gap number one that I want to address. Moving forward, you'll notice another huge gap that we left after the earnings, right? Massive gap over here. You guys can see that, right? It's like a gap after the earnings, so we gapped down heavily, but we went back up to fill it, right? So we gapped down a couple times actually. This right here was another time, right? So we had that gap. So gap down, both times we filled it, and right now we have this minor gap. So that could represent some upside over 18 to 20% moving forward. So really, anyone seeing what I'm seeing? What are you seeing? What are you seeing in the markets? All right, so the NASDAQ down about 66 basis points here, so really coming down. The Dow with a really doji candle so far in the 30 minutes. A lot of indecision for the Dow, still down about 163 points. And we got the S&P 500 down about 41 basis points as well, with the VIX now up over 7.3%. This is the third time. This is third time's the charm right here for the volatility index, right? If we see another spike for the VIX, first time we got tapped at 20. Second time we got tapped at 25. Are we hitting 30 levels this time around? What do you guys think? What do you guys think? Are we going to see another push higher for the VIX, potentially back up to over 30, or where are we going to get tapped out for the VIX moving forward? Remember, VIX moves in the opposite direction to the S&P. This is a big indicator. This is a great indicator, in my opinion, to when you want to be a buyer and when you want to be a seller, right? How you want to position yourself in the markets. Literally just learn how to study the VIX and you are set. If the VIX spikes all the way high to 29, 30, then we could see like a pullback for the S&P. That's a good time to start buying more stocks. When we're hitting some type of a support, when we're forming some type of a lower descending triangle here, then usually we've seen those spikes. It's happened like lower highs and then boom right here, lower highs and then spike right here. So I think the VIX will go lower into the close today, possibly tomorrow, and then there'll be huge spikes up. Yeah, I mean, the earnings and the FOMC meeting, those are two things that are going to be the most important things to look into this week. All right, so earnings next week. I'm actually going to do another calendar video this weekend and go over the earnings that are coming up next week. So I think that's going to be super helpful. I just want to focus on it week by week basis. I think next week, there's companies like Square reporting, and of course NIO is going to be coming out with the delivery numbers, so that's going to be on the calendar too. But let's take a quick look on NIO right now. So it looks like we are down over 5%. 5% trading as low as $40. So support level that I have is 40.62, and the low for the day is 40.64. So this right here is a support on the day and on the daily chart. Something that we talked about in our yesterday's market update, NIO video. So that's going to be the level to watch. And let's take a quick look on the EV sector. So EV is red across the board. I'm actually going to add Lucid here now. CCIV's gone. So all right, we got this. So the only company that's like up by small amount is Toyota, up about 2 basis points. But everything else, XPeng down over 7.5. We got BYD that's down over 6.3. Li Auto is down over 5.8. We got NIO that's down over 5.4. Lordstown down almost 5. Is Lordstown really trading at $7? Wow. I thought it was like at $14 or $15 a share. Wow, this has been a tough ride for, well, no pun intended, but this has been a tough ride for Lordstown Motors, from like highs of like $30 all the way down to like $7 now. But it's approaching a support here. It's really approaching some type of a very historical strong support. I mean, this is a level where it literally doubled. Like I remember it had 100% gains, 130% jump from like these levels for Lordstown Motors, right? So it went from like 675 or 650 all the way to as of $15. So it's approaching some type of a support here. So we'll kind of keep it on watch and monitor this stock as well and create some alerts. But Nikola down over 4.6. We got Blink Charging that's down over 4.48. And let's take a look at, so ChargePoint also down over 4%. We got Hyliion that's down over 4.3. Tesla is down over 2% now, trading as low as $644. So continuing on this lower high for Tesla. This right here is the lower high that we're just fighting day in and day out. Let's take a quick look at AMC. Are we seeing a breakout over 40, or actually we're down over 4%. Trading as low as $38.50. So Thomas, why is NIO doing so badly this week? Does anybody want to take a guess as to why NIO could potentially be doing badly, or all the other EV sector, EV stocks or Chinese stocks could be doing badly today? Let me know in the live chat what you guys think, and if anybody can help answer Thomas's question, I would really appreciate that. But AMC down to 38.65 here. So again, $40 is the resistance, right? So look at the high for the day. I mean, I'm not even making this thing up. Like, it's at $40.30. It's the high for the day. That's the resistance that we had on here. So we are fighting that level, right? That's the wall that AMC needs to break out over in order for us to see a cleaner move to the upside all the way to as of $50. So yeah, AMC is going to be a little bit range bound too. It's got levels at 30, 40, and $50. Those are three, and even as high as $60. It's got pretty accurate and like whole figures as resistance and support levels, right? So 30, 40, 50, and 60 for AMC stock. Those are levels that we have previously validated as either a support or a resistance level for AMC stock. All right, the NASDAQ looks like it's on a complete free fall here. It's not starting to catch any bids, struggling to catch any bids here, down about 125 points now, over 80 basis points. And that really goes to show that a lot of tech stocks, including Apple, is now down about 0.5%. NIO, of course, like I said, the earlier in the first 15 minutes, it has to have a direction, and then we can see either lower highs, lower lows, or higher highs and higher lows. Of course, it's the former right here for NIO stock. And AMD also pulling back. Let's take a look at Amazon. So no surprises, Amazon also starting to see a little bit of profit taking, in my opinion. This is exactly what that is a lot of people are taking profits off the table ahead of earnings calls. So we'll see if we actually do see any type of recovery moving forward as well. Don't forget, tomorrow is the Federal Reserve's press conference, so Jerome Powell is going to be speaking. I'll probably be doing that live stream because it's not that late. It's only going to be around like 11:30 midnight, so we'll do that live stream as well. But today's earnings, I probably won't be doing any live streams because that's going to be like 2 in the morning. But I'll definitely update you guys when the earnings come out, like tomorrow, and put out videos on that. All right, so let's take a look at some other companies very quickly. We haven't covered PayPal, so PayPal, let's take a quick look, down about 1.1%. So we perfectly hit our resistance at $310. That was a target, that was a resistance, previous all-time high as well at those levels. So yesterday's high was $310.16. So we actually hit a new all-time high yesterday for PayPal before pulling back. So next support is going to be 278. The RSI is also starting to come back down. So we'll see where we actually, or how we actually end up on the day for PayPal. So Square coming down as well. So $259 was the intermediate support on the day, previous resistance, but we are starting to trade below that level once again. So 243 is going to be a much stronger support level to watch. So Sofi pulling back once again. The next support, in my opinion, is going to be a 1432. So we did get a little bit of a bounce back higher, then a huge breakdown, strong day, but then the pattern kind of rolled over once again. I'm assuming the volume kind of faded as well. So you'll notice, look at the volume. Like, that's one of the things. Like, if there's no volume for that stock, it's not going anywhere. Like, we need volume to push higher. And this right here, the day that we had almost a 10% jump for Sofi, the volume was actually really good, right? Above average volume. And the next 3 days, such low volume, almost half. This is like cut in half, right? So the volume really dried up. And same thing happened with Google, same thing happened with AMD, Apple, like a lot of different companies. We saw very low volume trades. It was a very thinly traded session, and that usually does happen during summer months. It's like everybody's, they want to be outside, they're taking vacations, there's not a lot of trading activity going on. So we do see a lot of choppiness in the markets during summer months. Summer is actually the worst time to actually be trading because you do see like a lot of whipsaw effects, you see like a lot of back and forth, a lot of indecision in the markets. So that is perhaps one of the reasons why we're not seeing perfect follow-throughs and continuation on volume for a lot of these companies. But that being said, if they continue to come down, especially companies that are fundamentally sound, that does represent a lot of attractive levels to be, kind of dollar cost averaging on for these companies. So I'll watch 1430 as the next support for Sofi. That's the previous support that we've also validated in the past. All right, so NIO's down over 6.2% right now, so that's absolutely brutal for NIO right now. So that's obviously not what we want to see, but unfortunately that is what's happening. So let's take a look at some of the other EV stocks here. XPeng down over 9%. We got Li Auto, BYD, and NIO. And that's one of the things that I wanted to address in my video, right? I was getting a bit of criticism just by bringing it up. It's because it is a risk, right? We can't ignore it. It is a risk, and we have to address it, right? We have to talk about it, right? We're not just going to blindly ignore all the risks and keep keep it to ourselves, but instead we're going to talk about it, right? And you know, in the short term, this is what's affecting NIO and XPeng and Li Auto right now. But as I've said, I mean, the government over in China has been very supportive of NIO. They've been helping them out for a few years now. The provinces have also been very supportive of NIO as well. It's just that it's getting caught up in that pressure, and the price action looks very similar to all the other Chinese companies. It's all the uncertainty related to this that's actually bringing NIO stock prices down. Over the longer term, it's the fundamentals that's going to matter the most, right? Fundamentals and the actual business of the company. None of this matters, right? None of this uncertainty will matter. It's the fundamentals that will matter over the long term. So that's what's really important for NIO and for a lot of other Chinese companies that you're looking at, including Alibaba. In my opinion, I've already mentioned in the Discord, I think it's severely undervalued at these valuations, right? At these levels, Alibaba, in my opinion, is undervalued, without a doubt. So Apple coming down aggressively here, down about 74 basis points. We got Tesla's Amazon down about 1.36, and we got Tesla down about 2.7, now trading as low as 639. And the VIX is now up over 8.64%. And that's one of the reasons why, you know, when the S&P was actually down, this right here was only a dip buying opportunity for me, so I didn't actually go in too heavy. I haven't really been doing a lot of buying because I've just been really concerned about the valuations. Let's just put it that way. Just been alert and cautiously optimistic in this market. So if you do see dips, I'm a small buyer. If you do see pullbacks, I'm a reasonable buyer. Like if you see a correction, then yes, I'm going to start buying more heavily. But if you do see anything over a crash, then yes, that's going to be where we start to go like aggressive with our buying and start hunting for better and better deals moving forward as well. So these right there are going to be some levels to watch for the NASDAQ in case we see any type of weakness or the selling pressure persists longer. So again, this is the cheat sheet that we have. And it's very important to be patient. It's very important in this market to be patient, let the stock prices come to you and not chase anything in this market, right? Everything is going to come to your desired level if you just are patient enough and you just wait, right? If you have a set price that you're willing to pay for a specific stock, stick to it. So yeah, the NASDAQ 14,800 is kind of like a resistance right now. So we're starting to get rejected at that level on the day. So now we're down over 1%. So NASDAQ really starting to pull back here. And the S&P is down about 0.5%. The Dow still doing okay, but we are seeing some serious profit taking right now in the markets. And the VIX is now up over 9.66%. Trading almost at 20 levels. So AMD now turned red. We got NIO that's down over 7.5%, breached $40. Tesla down to 639, and we got Apple also starting to see a pullback here and a breakdown. So there we go. We are seeing pullbacks. We are seeing a potential correction for the broader markets, which is normal, which is something that we have been talking about for a long time. And Bitcoin is actually only up over 1.6%, so we are seeing a pullback here. SOL, I don't know what that is, but the alert went off, so so it's an ADS. I'm not sure why I have an alert on this company, but I do. All right. We'll go back to the NASDAQ here. Oh, you know what SOL is? I don't know why I have an alert on that. I do have a lot of alerts that I need to kind of sort through these. But yeah, we'll kind of remove all inactive. All right. That's funny. That's funny. That's great. So it's like, this is profit taking in my opinion. This has to be. I just want to make sure that, all right, so I'm not lagging, right? I thought I was lagging for 1 second. All right, let's see what Bloomberg has for us. Quick update on this. So again, that right there was a big piece that I already read. So the markets we've already covered. But we'll just take a quick look. Am I lagging again? God damn it, this is so frustrating. Let me see if I can fix it. Is it better now? Is it getting better? Can you guys see me, hear me without any issues? There we go. We're seeing live viewers count come down, but let me know if you guys can see me and hear me without any issues. Is it still lagging, or is it better? Is it better? All right, much better. Good. Oh, so Anand, thank you so much for sharing that. So US CDC apparently announced revised mask guidelines for vaccinated Americans Tuesday. So this is more of a Delta concern, huh? Concern about the Delta. We're seeing a pullback here from the Dow, the Nasdaq, and the S&P. Look at this pullback here, down about 1.28%. That's one of the reasons why I've wanted us to continue to raise more capital, raise more cash, and not buy as the markets are moving up, because the markets go up, the risk goes up with it. The markets come down, the risk comes down with it, right? So this is what I was concerned about. There's uncertainty related to the new Delta variant. We've talked about it during our market updates. We've talked about it during the live streams as well. You got that, and then you got, on top of that, you've got the earnings, and then on top of that, you've got the interest rate decision and the FOMC meeting. That's a lot of uncertainty, right? And the VIX is up over 10.74%. I'd wait for the VIX to get up to as high as 25 or 30 levels to start some buying again, right? Start nibbling again. This has more room, in my opinion, the VIX to like at least test highs of 20 or breach 20, even higher, to potentially retest highs of 25. I mean, we were just there on July 20th, July 19th. We were as high as 25, right? So it doesn't take long for the VIX to spike. So we'll see where we end up, but Willie, thank you so much. I really appreciate that. I'm glad that this is informational to you. Again, we've covered a lot of different things. Let's take a quick look on the yields as well. Down about 4.4%. Printing as low as 1.2380. So that really, I mean, my concern, or my really concern, is that once the Fed stops that buying of $120 billion per month that they've been doing, that includes US Treasuries, long-dated bonds, that includes 10 years, when they stop doing that, that's what's been keeping interest rates lower to that level. When they start winding that down, what happens to interest rates then? That's what I'm actually starting to think about, right? What that's going to look like in the markets is that, are the yields going to push back higher? Are we going to retest highs at 1.75? Are we going to be back over 2%? Because when they start tapering, either in 2022 or like sometime in 2023, what that's going to look like, right? What that's going to do to the yields is a real question. So that's that on a more macro level. Then we've got unemployment issues to deal with. Again, most of that expires in September, like in just about a month or so. Schools are reopening, and then we've got the Delta variant as well. So are the schools going to reopen? If not, then everybody has to stay home so that unemployment stays pretty elevated. If that's the case, then fiscal stimulus and checks continue to go out. That's more debt. That's more issuance of bonds. So it's kind of like, how do you kind of address all the macro things that are playing out at the same time, and what that's going to do to the markets, right? That's kind of like the big brainstorming thing that you're trying to understand when you're addressing the risk and how that's going to affect the markets and the economy. this time around, I don't see why this is going to be a huge issue. I don't think that's going to be a bigger problem than it was back in March 2020, because we've just experienced what it was like going through the pandemic, right? So I don't think it's going to be anything similar to that, but I feel like the consequences may be already that far down. Like we've already pumped so much trillions of dollars in the global economy already with the fiscal stimulus that it's kind of tough to redo that all over again if we see another round of or another wave, unfortunately, anywhere in the world, right? So that's going to be the big concern from a risk standpoint that we need to address. All right, so Apple's still down a little bit over 1% here. We got Google sliding over 88 basis points. AMD is now down 27. And we got Amazon that's down over 1.84%. Amazon really taking a pullback here. I mean, just yesterday we were all the way to highs of, I believe, 3,700. And now we're almost down to 3,695 again. All right, let's take a quick comments here. So they won't stop buying. They can't. You considered all the bad scenarios. Yeah. So I think it's important for us to address all of those issues and really understand what could be the outcome, right? Like, think about this. Had you been in January 2020, right? Go back to January 2020. Had you foreseen what could have happened with the pandemic and how everything played out, had you been able to envision that in the future, you would have been able to take advantage of an opportunity of your lifetime, right? Because the more you're able to kind of predict what's about to happen in an uncertain environment, the better prepared you're going to be. And when the opportunities do present themselves, you're going to be ready to just jump on those. So that's why it's important for us to kind of go over all the potential scenarios and what could play out in the markets and the economy as well. So Boeing reports earnings. Well, I think it's tomorrow, not today, but tomorrow. Actually, yeah, tomorrow. So Wednesday, July 28th is when they report the earnings. But we're just hovering above that support at 218 and the 200 simple moving average, right? So that's going to be the level to watch. And Boeing relatively strong. You're right, Bindra. That's a very good observation here, that Boeing is relatively performing really well compared with the S&P, the Nasdaq, and of course a lot of other stocks. So next resistance at 234, support at 218. Depending on how they announce their earnings, the RSI, the MACD also looks very bullish. So if you get a bullish crossover for the MACD, I could see some more upside as high as $234 per share. So Mara's down over 6.5%, NEO almost 7%, so we already talked about that, but it starts to feel like we're seeing some recovery here from the markets. So we're seeing some recovery. So Apple is now down almost 1%, but we were trading as low as 146.88, so we're seeing a little bit of a momentum to the upside once again. So Digital Turbine now trading as low as $60.53, down about 3.2%. Same, almost an identical pattern for all these companies, right? Let's take a look at Nvidia here. So almost an identical pattern for all stocks. They've just been like pushing higher. So a little bit higher, then boom, all the way down here. But Digital Turbine also down about 3.2%. Quick take on the technical piece here. So it's been forming some type of a lower highs. So that's a descending triangle for Digital Turbine. We're testing support at $60.50. So this right here is going to be the level to watch as a support for Digital Turbine right now. Is Corsair really in the 28s again? Down about 3%, huh? This may be a stock that I may do some purchasing on very soon. I may buy more Corsair very, very soon here, because the valuation is just ridiculously low for this one now. It's like forward P less than 15 or like less than 16. Let me take a quick look on this. By the way, when we're going to be doing a lot of live streams, a lot of private live streams that we're going to be doing for our Patreon members that are coming, trust me, that are coming, a lot of private live streams during market opens. We're going to actually be building out spreadsheets and valuation models and be doing actual live buying. At least I'm going to be buying a lot of stocks when they go on sale and they go on discounts. So we'll be doing a lot of research live. So I'll be building out spreadsheets in front of you guys, do some projections, talk about price targets, talk about what are the desired entry for me. And if we get those levels hit, we'll be doing buying live for all of our Patreon members. So, all right, statistics. 4P is now, so 4P now sitting at 14.34, so under 15 for Corsair Gaming. So ridiculously cheap for Corsair Gaming. Trailing P 18, price to sales is now trading at 1.38. So in my opinion, this has got a lot of potential. In the future, we've already done our analysis on this. Fundamental, my price target is at $75, but that's also over the longer term, like till 2025. That's going to be an analyzed rate of return of well over, I believe, 15 or 16%. Well, it should go up now because the stock price has come down substantially. So Elizabeth, the stocks are on sale today. They look on sale. Not yet. I mean, it really depends on which stocks are you referring to. I mean, Corsair Gaming, like I said, is on sale, in my opinion. Again, in my opinion, it's on sale. But if you look at something like Apple, I don't think it's on sale. It's only down 1% from its all-time highs. So it's relative, right? It really depends on what you mean by sale and which stock or which company are you referring to. So that's kind of like the analysis, because Apple, for one, has been rallying after this breakout that we saw from the symmetrical triangle, 21%, right? That was the jump. And now it's trading at all-time highs, and we're only down 1%. Versus Corsair, which has been selling off, and the P ratio that I showed you guys, the price to sales, has been really, really low for the company as well. So, Wish stock. So Wish actually broke down below 976. Next support is at 750. I would have to take a look at some of the price. So it doesn't have a P ratio. Price to sales is also not here, which, let me take a look. So annual 2.54 billion, and we're trading at 5.6 billion. So that's only like 2 times sales for an e-commerce company. Wish is only e-commerce as far as I'm aware. They don't have any SaaS business. They don't have a cloud business. They're only an e-commerce company as far as I'm aware of it. So 2 times sales for a pure e-commerce company is I would say like it's reasonable, but it doesn't have any profitability for the company. So that's something to look into. But balance sheet wise, so you got plenty of cash, 1.7 billion versus only 48 million in debt. So that's very good. That's strong. Current ratio at well over 1.86. That's also really good. Gross margins at well over 56%, but negative operating margins, negative EBITDA margins, negative net margins as well. So let's see what they're actually spending money on. So if they have 55% in margins, they should be at least profitable by some account. Total revenue at 772, so gross profit at 437 million, but they're selling general administrative expenses. Take a look at this. So their SG&A is more than 60% of their total revenue. So they're spending a lot of money on this, and it's mostly SG&A because they're not spending any money on R&D, right? Research and development is only 51 million. That's less than 10%. That's less than 9%, 8% of their total revenue. So they're mostly SG&A. Operating expenses, cost control, right? Those are things that we look at. From Tesla, that's actually really good, right? We broke down the earnings yesterday. So cost control is really good for Tesla. But for Wish, you're spending a lot of money on SG&A. So yeah, that's why their pre-tax income, so their bottom line is also negative here. So net income, negative $128 million, negative EPS as well. And if you take a look at the revenues, they've actually been growing, so that's good. So revenue growth is good. Let me see if I have that breakdown. So I don't know if you guys did get a chance to watch the tutorial that I put out today, going over some of the things that are super important when I'm personally looking at companies. But let me see if I can bring that up. All right, right here, earnings. All right, just give me 1 second while I pull that up. There it is. So these are some of the things that I personally like to look at from a fundamental and technical standpoint, right? Whenever I'm looking at a company, these are things that are really important. And again, when the markets are coming down, like if we do see some more corrections and pullbacks, it's going to be really, really helpful for us to start identifying deals in the market that kind of follow these check marks and follow these numbers. And not all companies are going to fit this bucket. Not all companies are going to have this check mark here. We're going to go by case basis and really understand what's the reason behind it. But revenue growth, super important for any company. If you want revenues to grow, that's one of the reasons why Micron, I'm actually looking into the company, but the revenues have been declining year over year. So that's one of the reasons I haven't really pulled the trigger on Micron just yet. Margin expansion, we want to see some type of a gross margin expansion or operating margin expansion. That really goes to show the company is becoming efficient. They're doing a lot of cost control, and their gross margin, operating margin also going up, right, year over year. That's actually improving for the company. EBITDA growth, we also look at that. So that's earnings before interest, taxes, depreciation, amortization. That puts all the company at the same level. A metric that a lot of analysts look at. It's not an accounting principle or an accounting metric, but simply a profitability or earnings metric as well, right? So that's very important. So free cash flow growth. Free cash flow is cash from operations minus capex, capital expenditures, everything that the company spends on property, plant, equipment, some of the bigger ticket items. When you take that out, how much free cash flow the company is left with, and we want to see that number also growing. These right here, two things I feel like are very easily ignored when we do fundamental analysis or when people are investing in long-term companies. We want low dilution. Again, case-by-case basis, Tesla, NIO historically have raised capital through issuing more shares from the equity markets. That's normal because it's a very capital-intensive business. They require a lot of cash to invest in the infrastructure, but ideally we would want something that is very low diluted, that is good for equity investors like you and I, right? We want something that we get bigger and bigger piece of the pie, and we don't get diluted from the company's management, right? As shareholders, if you look at the hierarchy, shareholders actually have the last take on the company's assets and liabilities. The first one is like the creditors, then we've got the bondholders, then we got the preferred shareholders, then we got actual common shareholders. So we want something that's low diluted as well. Then we got low debt. So of course, when you look at the financial health of the company, we don't want something that's overexposed to debt, margined out or taking on too much leverage. So we want to look at low debt levels. And then of course, we want to find something that's undervalued, underpriced as well. Undervalued is more about the company's valuation. Underpriced is more about the stock price. Is it overpriced, is it underpriced, and what your future returns look like as well. And this is what I was talking about earlier from a technical standpoint. We want something that's in a strong uptrend, testing support, so you're buying at support levels that's oversold, and you're getting a discount from all-time highs as well. So very important to not chase any stocks and not give in on the FOMO, but instead be patient on all these different stocks. All right, so the markets now, the Nasdaq is down over 1.25%, and we got the S&P down about 0.5% here. The Dow is pulling back slightly, not as bad as the S&P or the Nasdaq, but still down about 30 basis points. And we've got, it's funny because we had over 600 people watching, and as soon as I started talking about the fundamental analysis, now we have 560. So about 40 to 45 people left. That usually happens because fundamental analysis is kind of like very boring, I should say. Like, it's very boring to look at the fundamental analysis, right? Financial statements and like the income statement, the balance sheet, and so on and so forth. So, all right, let's take a look at Upstart here. So Upstart, ticker symbol UPST, down once again. 110 is going to be the level to watch as the next support. So right here is going to be the first support level at close to $110.50, right? That right there is the first support level. All the way as low as $80. So very, very important for us to look at. But it's so important. I agree. It's really important. Yeah, for those of you that are sticking around, you guys are the real MVPs. And I can already tell you guys have the right mindset for investing in the long term and actually finding deals in strong companies that have a lot of potential. So everybody that's just sticking around, I feel like has the right mindset for investing. So thank you so much for that. And yeah, fundamentals, technicals, both are really important just for investing in general. All right, so I was gonna actually talk about something, but then I forgot. So Nasdaq now down over 1.3%. Let's take a quick look on the EV stocks here. So NIO, It's down over 7.5%. We got Apple, it's down over 1.4. Li Auto is down over 9.7, and XPeng is down over down over 13%. So XPeng really taking a hit here, with Tesla down about 2%. So yeah, I mean, a pretty brutal day for the markets, to say the least. And of course, Chinese stocks also getting hit hard. Another one that maybe had a really good strong opportunity is mentioned by EY. I'm sorry if I mispronounced your names, but Palantir testing support at $21, right? This may be another stock that I may look into kind of adding more to. Both Palantir and Corsair Gaming are going to be on the watch, but then we'll just wait to see how the VIX kind of reacts and where we end up with the volatility index, and how the markets also come down on a more broader level for the S&P and the Nasdaq. What do you guys think? Is this the beginning, or is this like one of those dip buying opportunities? Let me know in the live chat. What do you guys think? Is this the beginning of a bigger drop, or is this simply a dip buying opportunity? We're going to see a little bit of a pullback and then rally back up to new all-time highs. $575 future Warren Buffett's right here. That's good. That's good. That's a good one. But yes, I agree. Right there is our facts. So Jian, why is China stocks being hit hard? Because of the regulations. The Hang Seng Index was down by a lot. Ryan, you're right. So we did cover it earlier during the live stream. So we're down over 4% when the market's closed. So, alright guys, so it's been about an hour and a half since we've done this live stream. I'm actually going to go spend some time with our Discord and our Patreon members, answer any questions that they have, and then of course send out any alerts if I'm buying anything. We'll be doing a lot more buying if we see a much bigger correction from the market. So again, remember, this is our cheat sheet. 15% or more is a crash in my books, but anything over 8 to 12% is going to be a decent sized correction, which is very healthy for the markets as well. So thank you so much for joining in. I really appreciate you guys, and for you guys to stick around. And again, the Webull and the Patreon links are going to be down in the description below if you wish to join our private Discord. Again, we've got a very sound, level-headed analysis. We're not here to kind of hype anything up, but instead just talk about the fundamentals, the actual numbers, the technical analysis, the support, resistance levels, and talk about the macros as well. So thank you so much for being a part of our community. I really appreciate you guys. I hope you guys have a green day if you can, but of course the markets are down, but that's very normal. It's a healthy pullback, and we'll be ready to buy some more. So thank you so much for joining in. Hope you guys have a great day, and I'll see you guys in the next video.